Timothy Glaz, donc j'expliquais, vous êtes directeur des affaires internes chez Werner Mertz. Werner Mertz, pour vous, j'explique en 2 mots. Werner Mertz est un fabricant et distributeur de produits d'entretien. C'est un groupe allemand, une entreprise familiale, et qui, à la fin du siècle dernier, a fusionné avec Mertz, donc qui a rejoint le groupe. Cette entreprise est pionnière en matière de produits d'hygiène et d'entretien intégralement durable, ce qui est quand même assez exceptionnel. On ne s'attend pas à ça sur ce type de secteur. So we're going to have an interactive session in English. So sorry for my poor English, in fact. You ask us maybe to introduce your activity with a short film, or do you want, like, maybe my first question before the short film will be, why are you so much...
Just a question, because...
Yeah, you prefer we go with the film?
I also have some short slides.
Ah,
so maybe
slide.
I just
Formidable.
I don't have a remote control to...
Okay, so
if it would be
Gilbert?
possible?
Gilbert, est-ce que c'est possible de passer les slides? Merci.
No, that's the film. But
Okay.
Je suis désolé, je n'ai pas de slide, j'ai juste un film.
Okay.
Okay, then maybe we just start with the film, and then I can explain a little bit more about our company. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Start the
Merci Gilbert.
It's a true innovation. The Frosch brand has managed to produce packaging material containing a high percentage of recycled plastic. The source of the reusable material is revolutionary. How does it work? In Germany, almost 2 million tons of trash end up in recycling containers every year, the so-called yellow bags. Nearly half of it is pointlessly incinerated. And this is where we go to work, processing the PET packaging extracted from the recycling bin. After the packaging has been pre-sorted and washed, the clean PET material is ground into flakes. We use an innovative procedure to eliminate all the remaining unwanted foreign matter. It works only because we have access to ultra-modern laser sorting technology that's still relatively unknown. Further processing, which includes sophisticated laser technology, frees the flakes from the last chemically contaminated particles. The result is a clean, recycled raw material called recyclates out of the recycling container. What many people once thought impossible is already feasible. Today we manufacture plastic bottles with a high percentage of these recyclates. The first Frosch dishwashing detergent in PET packaging from the recycling bin is already on the market. The advantages of the Frosch Recyclate initiative are obvious. This system provides long-term protection of the environment as we set a true cycle into motion. A PET bottle turns into a PET bottle, which turns into a PET bottle. For the first time, resources that would otherwise be irretrievably lost can be put to good use. The Frosch brand and its partners are forging an exciting, trailblazing path with the Recyclate initiative.
Voilà, donc ce petit film très explicatif. Maybe Timothy, can you explain why Werner is so much engaged in sustainability?
Well, basically we are, like you already mentioned, we're a family company, and our owner, the owner of Werner Mertz, is actually the CEO, and he strongly believes that he wants to create a company that is not only sustainable, but also his children will be proud of inheriting. So sustainability has a lot to do with values and with also doing the less harm to nature that you can do to reduce your ecological footprint. So his vision is to really holistically reduce, but not only to reduce the negative impact that every company and every manufacturer actually has to do while he's doing his work and producing his products, but actually to really change the kind of producing. So we have several initiatives that we started, and one of the initiatives we just saw in the film is looking for sources that have not been used until today. And actually in Germany there has been the household collection for over 20 years now, and it works, but it doesn't really work in the case of circular economy, because for plastics, for instance, most of the plastic that is collected is burnt. It's waste to energy, but it's not really the way that we believe in circular economy. We think and we believe that you should reuse what you had put on the market in the same way. And that's why Werner Mertz started this initiative. We're a small company. If you compare us, thank you. You have to push it hard. Okay.
Merci, Gilbert.
Okay. So we're a small company in our market because we are into fast-moving consumer goods. We have competitors that are much, much bigger than we are. So we won't be able to change the market alone. So we're looking for collaboration with other companies. And I think that's also a very important step that you have to take. If you really want to change markets, then you cannot do it alone. You have to have partners. So we were always looking for partners in our initiatives. And again, we believe strongly in changing a lot. And maybe you can just see this one slide. It's our new headquarters that was built in 2010. And we tried to do everything possible to really have an ecologically perfect building. And it's actually, it's energy plus building. So we create more energy than we use for the heating and the lighting of our offices. We have about 20% surplus per year that we create through thermal process, through solar panels, and through wind energy. So that's just an example to give you an impression on how we try to change the way that we do our business. And again, I'm very aware of that we're in a global conference, and if I follow the other sessions, then I'm aware that, of course, we're in a very privileged situation. But just to talk about the investment for such a building, it costs about the same amount that it would have cost to build the building in a conventional way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I think it's a sign for a good communication also for your clients and for how do you communicate with the customer about these initiatives?
Well, it's not so easy because, of course, the customer basically is interested that our products work. So he wants his dishes to become clean, and he wants his clothing to become clean. So that's basically the first interest of the customer. Frosch in Germany is a very well-known brand for ecologically good products. In France, it's Renette, and I believe that most of you probably are aware of the brand here in France. So that's already, for our customers, a very important message. If we go into detail, then it becomes difficult because most of the customers are not so interested in how much energy we save, or we have an environmental management and auditing scheme that is also very successful. We reduce our CO2 footprint by product every year, but try to communicate that to a customer.
Can you maybe explain, just for this focus, like reduce COE, how does it contain? What is it? Can you explain us this? Give us more information. Sorry about this CO2 reduction. But well,
yes, of course we change the way we produce. We source our energy from alternative energy sources. Not only our office building is, like I mentioned, Energy Plus. We source from sustainable sources, wind energy, water energy, and so on. And also we, of course, improve the way of production, and we reduce the energy we need. For instance, our water comes from the River Rhine, because obviously in our products we have a lot of water. So the way we treat our water, it makes the water so clean that you actually need less treatment to get the same result. So we reduce our energy. But again, it's something that we more or less develop new. It's something that we are into innovation and pioneering certain ideas. And again, we're a small company, and we would always like this to more or less escalate into the market.
Okay, you are speaking about water, that you use water, okay, but what is about oil palm? Because I heard that all those products we use every day, we put oil palm. And are you working on a new oil, and what is your next step, in fact?
So I mentioned the initiative for recycling. So we take material that has not been sourced until now, and we make transparent bottles out of it. So that's more or less the technical cycle, because I have a chart that I can show you. This is the cradle to cradle idea. So in the blue circle we have this packaging thing, and in the green circle we have the changing of our ingredients. It's more or less behind cradle to cradle. It's what you take from the nature, you give it back again. So we have the replacement of palm oil through other oils from sources that come from Europe. The reason behind that is that we believe that it's always difficult to really control the sources of palm oil, because in the beginning it was all rainforest where you have palm plantations nowadays. And so we don't really feel comfortable to source from plantations where the palm oil or the trees or the plantations were originally rainforests. So we try to replace the palm oil that we use, actually it's palm kernel oil, through sources that come from Europe, like olive oil or rapeseed. And in both cases, it's not in any way taking it from the food channel, because it's the olives that are pressed already and that would be otherwise dumped or made into whatever soil, which is okay, but we can use it for the surfactants that we need for our products. So it's this replacing the step by step. You cannot do it all in one. And again, we are always happy if other companies follow our example, because we want to prove that it's possible.
And which is possible? Do you think that the supply chain concerning, for example, the PET can be transferable to other products or other markets in the world, or is it like specific to your activity?
It's also one of the things that we strongly believe in. We do not want to do that for Germany, because we're an international company. We're distributed around the world, and so we would like also to give examples also for other markets. And with PET, for instance, you have PET all over the world. A lot of the PET at the end goes into the oceans, which is sad. And so if you give the PET bottle a value, then it will never end up in the oceans. So, and you can actually create markets where the packaging at the end is being used. So you can create markets in India or in Indonesia or wherever. And the other thing is that, of course, already now the bottles often are collected, then they're mostly exported to China, and they're transferred into fleece pullovers, for instance. And fleece, for instance, is one of the sources for microplastics. So every time you wash a fleece pullover, microplastics go in the water, and they cause a lot of problems in the water. So we say it's not so good making a pullover out of a bottle, but it's better to turn a bottle back into a bottle again. And it has a lot to do with quality, the quality of material, and also a quality of markets. So it's a lower quality if you, you can debate on that. Fleece pullover is a necessary piece of clothing, but we think if it was a bottle and you can turn it back into a bottle, then let's turn it back into a bottle.
Okay, so in fact, in French we say le bon sens. It's a way of speaking. Maybe it's one of the key factors to be successful. What are the other key factors to be, like sustainability success in your activity?
Well, it's a mixture of different actions that you have to take. You have to be very transparent, so everybody can check everything we do. We have audit schemes that are very, very complex. This EMAS I mentioned, it contains that you have to improve your ecological footprint from year to year. So it's very ambitious. And basically, everybody can look into our processes. And we show it, and you can check if it's really true, because we don't want to be greenwashers. And so that's very important, because you can lose a lot of credibility if somebody finds out, oh, they're just talking, they're not doing. So we prefer doing, and sometimes we also try things that at the end maybe not even work that way, but since we're convinced that we want to go in that direction, then you just have to go. And that's maybe one of the key messages for me. It's just do it. Don't wait, don't talk so long, just do it, because there's a lot of opportunities, and actually everybody can do. It doesn't have to be a big company, it doesn't have to be a very overdeveloped or very well-developed economy. You can take small steps, and you can try, if you pick up the idea of the circular economy and cradle to cradle, then you can really try also at small scale to find ways to create markets and to reduce waste and every other thing that does harm to the environment.
Okay. In fact, this certification cradle to cradle, we seem that we're in a paradise because I think that you're absolutely perfect. So maybe dans la salle, maybe there is people, someone. Est-ce que quelqu'un veut prendre la parole, poser une question? Parce que c'est vrai qu'on a l'impression d'être. Est-ce qu'il y a un micro? Il y a une hôtesse, un micro?
I'm George Gelman from the Planetworkshops. To follow what Sonia was saying, where can you improve? I mean, you've already gone pretty far. Where can Werner Mertz improve?
There's a lot of possibilities. We have a lot of plastic packaging. So if you just take our PET bottle, which we are now producing out of 100% recycled material. There's the etiquette, there's the glue, there's the color of the cap, which is green, and green is a really mean thing because it contains very toxic materials, ingredients. So we're right into now changing and looking into every single part of what the color does and what the glue does, and the cap is not yet from recycled material. It has specific functions that is very difficult to create with recycled material. So we can improve there, and we're into that. And also we have packaging that is made out of different components. It's not possible to recycle these kind of packaging. They're compounds. And right now, and one of our major areas for this packaging, it's an important part of our packaging, and we're developing a process to make this packaging recyclable. So this just in packaging, and like I mentioned, there's the ingredients that you can always improve. You can change all over to sources not from palm kernel oil. We still have transports with normal trucks. Of course, you could try and develop other ways of transport, which is difficult because the supply chain is very complex also. It's the retailers that are our customers. They want their delivery in a certain way. So that's not easy, but like I said, the key message, collaborate, talk with your customers, and develop new strategies.
Thank you. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions?
I'm going to translate the question.
Non, ça va. Je comprends le français, mais je ne parle pas trop bien.
Merci beaucoup. Moi, je comprends l'anglais, mais je ne parle pas très bien. Alors, j'ai une question et une histoire. La première question, on a vu dans le film un moment que dans la reconnaissance pour des différentes formes de plastique, visiblement, ça passe dans quelque chose qui ressemble à un laser. C'est quoi la technique?
C'est ça. C'est une laser technology. C'est une technologie qui était déjà en place, mais pas usée par une sélection comme celle-là.
Ce qui veut dire peut-être qu'en dehors effectivement de votre business, est-ce que ça ne vous donne pas des idées ça serait quasiment un produit dérivé de cette technologie, de la diffuser dans d'autres filières?
Yes, we're checking that, and actually the manufacturer of this technology is trying to also use this in other areas, but you can't use it for plastic, for instance. PET works very well.
Alors c'est pour ça que j'en arrive à la deuxième chose, qui n'est pas une question, qui est une histoire. Avec notre ami commun Gildas Bonnel, qui m'avait invité à un déjeuner, je crois que c'était chez Nespresso. C'était très intéressant parce que Nespresso racontait son problème avec ses petites machins de café là. Et puis Nespresso a visiblement en tout cas la volonté aussi de rentrer autant dans les détails que vous. Et ils se sont posé la question, soit effectivement on reste sur notre petite barquette aluminium Nespresso, soit effectivement on s'intéresse à d'autres business et d'autres compagnies qui ont le même problème. Et leur réflexion, ça a été de voir Coca-Cola, Orangina, je ne sais trop quoi, d'autres structures qui ont quasiment le même problème, et qu'à partir de leur problème, ils l'ont donc mis en commun avec d'autres compagnies.
That's our experience also. And that's what I mentioned, is finding other companies that have the same interests. Because at the end, of course, like Nespresso, they wanted to address this issue because that's a lot. There's been long discussions in Nespresso because of the capsules. And actually, I used to work for Nestle, and we did tests with Nespresso capsules in the sorting facility, and they can be sorted out pretty well. But there's a lot of other questions that are still to be answered.
Mais c'est là que l'histoire devient belle, c'est-à-dire qu'effectivement, vous allez dans la perfection, et la perfection vous amène à vous intéresser à d'autres compagnies qui ont à peu près le même problème, et par conséquent, ça fait...
L'économie circulaire, c'est tout à fait ça. When did you receive this cradle-to-cradle certification, in fact? I forgot to ask you this.
Well, we didn't receive it as a company, because the cradle-to-cradle certificate... Basically, this is the way that our philosophy works in our company. We did cradle-to-cradle before there was a certification, but you have the certification product by product, because it's a very complex thing to get the certification, and the first certification, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
And it's also for all the Renate's products, but is it also for the green care?
It's also for the, yes, I didn't mention it, sorry. I have actually colleagues from the professional business that we also do. We don't only do end consumer, but professional business, and our brand there is Green Care. And actually, it has been one of the first, or it's the first company that has used this cradle-to-cradle certification in its market. So, and it's important in the business-to-business to also create awareness about ecological products, because we have it everywhere. We have it in the kindergartens, we have it in the schools, we have it in hospitals, and so why should we clean there with products that are not really safe?
That's the point. Il y a une autre question dans la salle, madame?
Comment faites-vous pour sécuriser vos sources d'approvisionnement en PET à recycler? J'avais cru comprendre qu'il y avait un vrai enjeu dans toute la filière, notamment de bouteilles d'eau minérale, à trouver du PET parce que justement ils partaient pour les polaires, etc. Est-ce que ça ne vous conduit pas à importer de pays très très lointains des tonnes de PET, ce qui n'est pas forcément idéal non plus?
Our PET comes from the German market. Because we have the household collection. Actually, in Germany, we also have a deposit system for beverages. So if this would have been a PET bottle, then it would have a deposit on it on 25 euro cent. So that gets collected in the retail shops. That's about 450,000 tons per year. And the rest goes into the mixed collection in the households. And that, until now, was burned because PET could not be separated easily. And so it comes from the German sources, and we know where it comes from, and we can make pretty sure that it's also, and we know it's a safe material, by the way, because we had an analyze made of our bottles, and it has less contaminants in this bottle than it has in a Evian bottle PET. So it's safe and it's clear and the source we always check, of course, because we check our sources for all our other ingredients, and all our suppliers have to fulfill a criteria list to really fulfill all the ecological criteria that we set.
Merci pour cette explication précise. Il y a d'autres questions? Oui, madame. Oui, et au fond aussi, monsieur. Alors, on va commencer par madame.
Alors, je suis très intéressée par vos produits et en même temps, je me dis, à travers votre entreprise, vous résolvez le problème de l'assainissement, vous créez de la valeur avec la mise en place des emballages et je rêve, je me dis que dans mon environnement où le secteur agroalimentaire est confronté à la problématique des emballages, voilà une opportunité qui se présente, mais en même temps, je me pose une question de savoir, en cas d'absence d'énergie, pour pouvoir faire fonctionner cette technologie, même si elle peut être égale à celle que vous avez, est-ce que l'énergie renouvelable que vous mettez en place peut arriver à résoudre ce problème dans un environnement différent, par exemple en Afrique?
Well, basically, you always need energy to make the packaging. So, of course, you also need energy to recycle the packaging. I would imagine that, first of all, the recycling of PET, for instance, you need a lot of energy to make PET bottles. And the recycling of PET, you need much less energy. But I'm aware if you would do that in Africa and you don't have the energy resources, then that might create also problems. So, of course, it has something to do with creating a new market or also building a company. But I'm convinced that if you give the packaging a value, then you will get a market. So it's always better than burning or than exporting it to China to keep it in your own country because it has a value. And I'm aware it's complex and it's not easy, but I think it's a good idea. It's a good idea, and you should actually try and find out if you have the resources to really create a solution for your country.
Monsieur, pardon.
En fait, il n'y a pas encore le micro, je l'ai pris au passage, je suis désolé. J'avais une question, vous avez beaucoup parlé du contenant. Et est-ce que vous êtes aussi impliqué dans le contenu et quelles sont vos recherches sur les caractères écologiques de choses qui sont là aussi très regardées et très potentiellement dommageables pour l'environnement, tout ce qui est détergent, etc.
Yes, of course. I mean, that's the green part of the circle that is in the cradle to cradle, and all our development goes in the direction to make absolutely sure that our products, the ingredients, are not harmful for health and for the environment. So basically, you can actually just pour it into the environment and nothing will happen. Of course, the dose is what is actually at the end relevant. So if you, pour 10 bottles after each other, so just theoretically, then of course, then we cannot make sure that everything is safe. But basically, that's one of our main claims, that there's no ingredients that are harmful. And of course, there's research that says, oh, you use this special ingredient, and in certain cases it can create a problem. We're aware of that, and if we find a possibility to replace that, and actually we react. Sometimes it's also just to make sure that we're not seen upon as not caring for and not looking for alternatives.
Ok. Oui, j'avais lu d'ailleurs que vous utilisiez des tensioactifs d'origine végétale. Et ça, it's not so often, I imagine.
I think I mean, we're in a mass market. There are niche manufacturers that go into eco shops and they have no perfume. They have, basically there's even more water in those products than in ours. So obviously we're in a mass market and we have to really survive there. And within this mass market, I would see us as, at least in Germany, as the market, and I guess also in France, as the producers that use the less chemical ingredients than others. And I'm aware, of course, that that's a big claim, but we can stand to it.
Okay, merci. Monsieur?
Thank you. Dr. Stanislav Shmelev, Environment Europe, Oxford. First question, could you clarify, please, which types of plastic can be recycled and which cannot? Because the recent information that I had was that only 2 can be properly recycled. It's a very simple question. And then what should countries that don't have such elaborate systems of collection like Germany do? Because I've been to this remarkable little island, Pulau Ridang, which inspired me to create even several oil paintings to tell this story. The place is 6 by 4 kilometers across. They're burning oil to power air conditioning in their hotels, which charge £300 per night. They use motorcycles instead of bicycles and straw hats to protect themselves from the heat. And what is more, there is no recycling, and there is lots of plastic, on the beach and by the side of the road. So those types of situations. And why not, in the long run, well, I don't know how long this run could, technically speaking, be, but go into completely biodegradable, very new sort of blue sky thinking materials.
So the first...
which ones can be recycled
I know,
and which cannot?
So basically, from the material PET, if it's a clear PET and there's no... sometimes you have, or not sometimes, but a lot of PET packaging in the market is trays, where you have meat and cheese and ham and whatever, so fresh things. So sometimes they have an anti-oxidation additive, which more or less creates a big problem. It cannot be recycled. At least it will yellow, and sometimes you can't even melt it down because it has different melting points. So this kind of material, all compounds are very difficult to separate and to recycle. Every monomaterial and plastic can be recycled. It doesn't matter what color it has. Black is not easy to detect in the sorting facilities, but that's not the main reason. The main reason is if it's a compound, it more or less contains different kind of plastic materials, or it has additives that just don't work in recycling. So basically, every plastic can be recycled if it isn't put together as a compound. The other question is not so easy to answer. Basically, I would say it's better burning the packaging than burning oil to run your air conditioning. But it's not the best solution, because I could imagine that an island that you just talked about, you have pretty much sun. So I guess there could be alternative ways to really gain your energy. But at the end, to transport the packaging back to whatever a place where you can sort or maybe recycle it, it's probably you need more energy than if you burn it just on the site. So, but that's really a small amount, and I'm talking about the big streams that, like I mentioned, really create problems, such as the plastic oceans problem we have. So that's the things that we should think about, and we should try to find a solution. And the solution is to just give the packaging a value, so that then you can really sell it as an adequate price and create good jobs, and not the jobs that you see sometimes at the wild dumps and wherever in underdeveloped countries, where you see people that are really not doing the best kind of work, but they're doing because they need it and they need to get the money, but it's not the way that the economy should work.
Okay, but it's a beginning on the supply chain. You can't be completely sustainable from A to Z. So well, I think it's a road
It's a road, but I think you need a vision. You need a vision, and you should start. I mean, and nobody's perfect. And I mean, I try to give the impression that we're perfect, but we're not perfect. No, we're not perfect.
On va prendre une dernière question, s'il y a une dernière question, parce que le temps, on a déjà pris un petit peu de retard. Non, non. So maybe, madame.
Thank you very much, and it is hope for us what you are doing, sir. But my question, are you more expensive than other products for me to buy as a consumer?
That's a very good question, because that's one of the, that's the way we still have to really reach. Right now it's not more expensive, because the retailers in Germany would not accept 1 cent higher prices. So right now, we need to put money into this project. Not so much, but it's a little bit higher, the price. But we believe strongly that as soon as we have more partners to join, other companies that do the same kind of business as we do, and also retailers, that once you create a bigger market, then the prices will go down. And that's pretty much our strong belief. So because it cannot and it should not lead to making and creating higher prices. Even if you have a good reason to raise the price, the consumer will not accept it, and which is sad, but that's a fact. That's a given fact, and so that's our ambition, to really keep the prices stable, and also not to make money on what we're doing. It's just to more or less get out of it without actually putting money into it.
Ok. Bon, merci beaucoup pour cet moment en fin de journée et on se voit dans la cour.